Welcome back to Strong Hands Reborn Dad. My name is Odie. I'm a male reborn doll collector, and I focus on helping people deal with mental illness, how reborn dolls can help with that. I also do unboxing videos, sharing my inside collection, and just general things that I find interesting around the reborn doll hobby. And today is no different. So if this sounds like something you'd enjoy, feel free to give us a like, subscribe, share this video. Love to have you. So today, I thought about the past 5 months that it's been since I've been collecting reborn dolls. Well, not just reborn dolls like collecting, but actually going public about it. It's been almost 1 year now, almost to the day since I got my first reborn doll. And today I thought about some of the things that I've learned or been asked as a content creator now because our audience has grown so much. And so I'm going to go through a bunch of questions today about being a content creator in the reborn doll space and what it's like having the audience that I do, including yourself. So I hope you'll stick around for that. And also, I have little Livy today. This is Olivia, and she is an Ashton Drake doll. And I have something very special to share about Livy at the end of the video. And I think you're going to want to stick around to find out. So let's get into it. Okay, so I have got a sheet full of questions here that either I've been asked or indirectly asked, or questions I thought you might find interesting surrounding being a public figure in the reborn doll community and what that's been like for me the past 5 months now. And so I just wanted to share that. So let's go through these. Some of these questions I won't spend a ton of time on, but others I will absolutely give some more elaboration on. So here we go. Hopefully this won't be too long, but I thought all of these questions were really good and insightful. So let's get into it. Did I ever expect the channel to grow beyond a handful of people? No, I did not. I thought I'd get a few dozen subscribers. Maybe I'd post one or two videos a month, just sharing little things. I just wanted to reach other men in the reborn doll hobby, and I was encouraged to by an artist in the reborn doll community. And it just kind of blew up almost immediately. I was surprised on how quickly even my very, very first video gained traction, and then the second, then the third video. And so I did not set out to gain a huge following, but I guess it was God's will for it to happen. And I'm very grateful and very blessed to be where I am right now. So, what was my original goal when I started Strong Hands Reborn Dad? Well, as I kind of mentioned, it was to actually reach other men in the hobby. It was just to share my story, to normalize men being in this space. And honestly, I achieved that goal, but it's now grown into something much, much bigger. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit, but it's been great. Um, at what point did I realize people were actually paying attention? That was about a month in. It was when my first video on TikTok got over 40,000 views at that time, and the comments were just incredible. They were all over the place. And then I also knew people were paying attention because I started getting direct messages from other content creators, publications, and especially when I got my first sponsorship offer, I thought, wow, people are really paying attention. So I guess it was a little bit over time, but this last month or so, I really started to notice that. Becoming a public figure in the hobby. Let's go over this section. So when did I first realize people were looking for at me for answers? So something that's interesting that's happened is I've actually I get lots of messages from people who ask me different things about my dolls, about even my camera equipment and audio equipment. I get asked about what dolls I prefer and why, and what reasons I have them and why. And people really started to resonate with that. And I think it's just because I typically take a thoughtful, meaningful approach to how I answer questions. And I'm very intentional about how and why I do things. So I think that was quite a bit of it. Do I consider myself a representative of the reborn doll community? I only consider myself a representative for me and my channel, but I think a lot of the themes that I share are representative of the larger community, but I certainly don't see myself as a head spokesperson. I don't think any of us can because we all come from different backgrounds and different ways that we express being in the reborn doll community. For example, I'm not a big role play person. I don't role play very much with my dolls, but a lot of people do. There's entire channels dedicated to that. So we all come from that, but I consider myself to be a voice. Is it even possible for one person to represent such a diverse hobby? And that kind of goes into saying no, because it is incredibly diverse in so many different backgrounds from all over the world. So yeah, I don't think it's possible. I think you get within a niche, you get several other sub niches inside of it. I think there's a lot of different perspectives there. How do I handle people expecting me to have an opinion on everything? To be honest, I don't think that people expect me to have an opinion on everything. I get asked specific questions. I don't generally, if I get a question I don't know or haven't researched, oftentimes I'll be honest and or I ignore the question because I don't want to speak out of turn or without a background on it. So I don't ever answer things that I don't have a good understanding of. Let's talk about the pressure of being in this space. Do I feel pressure before posting certain content or certain videos? I feel pressure on everything I post for Strong Hands Reborn Dad at this point. At first, I didn't. It was much more of get the who, what, when, where, and why about me out there. And then after that, when I started realizing that I was getting reaction videos and I was getting people cross posting and people asking different questions about it, and now I gauge because certain topics tend to trigger different types of comments, and I'm a little bit sensitive to that. So I do get nervous and I do feel pressure with every video that I make, but I never substitute my honesty for it either. Have I ever avoided a topic because I knew it would be controversial? No. Case in point, the whole babe side thing about is every manufactured doll a scam? I did a whole thing on that. You're welcome to go back and watch that. But when I do choose to take on a more controversial subject, I'm very thoughtful, intentional, and I typically do a lot of research given my journalism and broadcast background. So I'm very sensitive to knowing what things are going to trigger certain responses. And so while I don't avoid them, there are the way that I approach certain subjects is certainly a strong factor into the conversation that I'll have regarding certain topics. Do I worry about saying the wrong thing? Yes, I do. Every video, everyone. I'm waiting for the day somebody who I thought was a friend of mine to come at me with accusations and negativity. And I've already dealt with that actually. So there were some people early on that I thought were my friends in the reborn doll space, and now they're not. They don't want to communicate with me anymore, and that's their decision. I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I honestly took a look at it, but I offended them somehow, and that's their opinion, that's their right, and I just know that I can't make everybody happy, but I'm still me, and I'm still trying to be honest as best I can. What's the hardest part of having a platform in this hobby? Probably saying the wrong thing because I'm trying to be respectful of everyone, so I'm always thinking about the type of comments and the type of people that watch my videos and how they're going to respond to certain topics. So I'm very aware of that, and that's kind of a hard thing to manage because I have things I want to say, I have topics I want to talk about, and things I want to say and do and show, but I have this underlying feeling of okay, how bad is this going to go? Because it's not the same for me anymore as posting a random video, random content, because it's going to whether I like it or not at this point no matter what I post, it's going to have a ripple effect throughout the reborn doll community and it's going to travel fast and even beyond it. So I have to be very cognizant about that. Do negative comments still bother me? No, not nearly as much as they used to. If a comment really is constructive criticism and it bothers me, typically I reach out to people I trust in the reborn doll space that I know and respect, and I get their opinion on it and their view. So I don't handle general negativity. If it's from people I know and have that, I typically take that more seriously. There's different levels too, and I'll talk about that here in the criticism section here. So, what's the biggest misconception about being a reborn doll content creator? That I have lots of money because I have lots of followers and I can just give away dolls for free. That's probably the biggest misconception I think in general about being a content creator specifically around reborn dolls is that you once you get to a certain level, people think that why don't I just give dolls away for free? I must be making a ton in ad revenue from AdSense or whatever. And no, I don't make a dime. I haven't actually applied. I'm eligible to be monetized on YouTube and TikTok. I just haven't leaned into it. Been very intentional about that. I've only taken one sponsorship even at this point. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the bigger misconceptions. What's the biggest misconception about being a male reborn doll content creator specifically? I think that is that I must have different motives for why I collect reborn dolls, and actually, my motives are a lot of the same as women. I appreciate the artists, the realism of them. I have nostalgia with them. They remind me of my son when he was little, and it brings me comfort. It helps with my anxiety and my stress. And those are a lot of the same reasons women have for being in here. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about being a male reborn doll collector is that I must have different reasons than a woman would for being in this space. And that's not necessarily true. Have there been times when criticism made me question whether to continue? Yes. I can remember a very specific comment, and it was this idea. It was from a female, I think she was an artist and collector, but she put a comment that said, "Men ruin everything," that me being in here was ruining the reborn doll hobby for all women. And I took that one seriously, not because I felt like it was true, but because it touched on something that I didn't expect to hear. And so I asked people I trusted about it in small private groups, and I got a lot of encouragement back. And, just it was more or less I needed the validation that no, the larger sense of people don't feel like this person did. So, but that was one time I actually thought, maybe I should step back. Maybe I should reevaluate what my role is in this hobby, publicly at least. So, last question on this side. How do I deal with people who think I'm speaking for all collectors? I don't. I actually haven't gotten that accusation or criticism yet. So I don't think anyone who's seen any of my content or looked at anything thinks that I claim to speak for everybody. And as I said earlier, I don't. Um, I'm intentional about what I talk about and the framing, but I certainly don't speak for everybody. So I haven't really faced that yet. Do creators have a responsibility? And we're moving into a section called the responsibility. Do creators have a responsibility to present the hobby positively? I think we have the responsibility to be advocates for people who feel misunderstood, particularly in this hobby. It's a hobby that is often misunderstood. So I feel like content creators have a responsibility to normalize it and help articulate things that are hard for some people in the community to really convey. And I don't necessarily think I have to frame it positively, put it rosy picture, because just like every hobby, there's internal politics in this hobby that I've had to learn to adapt to. But yeah, I don't, other than trying to educate people and speak honestly, I think that's my biggest responsibility as I present the hobby. What responsibility comes with having an audience? The biggest one is my words carry weight now. Whether I like it or not, whether that's what I intended to have happen or not, that's what's happening. When I put out a video, some of my videos on TikTok are going to get seen within a month from over 100,000 people. That's happened. I'm going to get dozens of comments, pretty much guaranteed. And thankful for those comments. But my responsibility with that audience is to nurture it, protect it, in addition to growing it. I want to welcome people in who my goal now, it's kind of evolving. I want to welcome new people into this space. I want to have a perspective on here that speaks to people that maybe draws them into this space a bit more. Also, I want to be able to talk about my faith a bit more um, within this space too. And so, having an audience now, I get to speak to that, but I also have to be respectful with this audience of all of their opinions and views and try to be respectful at all times. And so, it gets more challenging the bigger the audience gets, but I think if I keep just doing what I'm doing right now, I think the audience itself um, will keep going, and I'm excited about that. How careful do I have to be when discussing controversial topics? I kind of touched on this earlier, but I'm careful in the fact that I have to make sure that what I'm saying is accurate. I can't just spout off just what I think is true about particular topics. I actually have to be able to show research. I have to be able to validate what I'm saying because the consequences of speaking falsely about something or even ignorantly about a topic that I don't know anything about are bigger because more people are going to see that, more people are going to be influenced by that information. And so my responsibility is to make sure that I'm speaking accurately and truthfully as best I can. Will I always get it right? No. There's so many views and opinions and sides people have on certain topics that I'm never going to please everybody, but I always try to speak in a way that shows that I was intentional and that I gave it a thoughtful look. And that means videos take longer to make. Editing, what I say, even some scripting, you know, takes longer now to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. How do I balance honesty with protecting the community? I think they go hand in hand, to be honest with you. Protecting the community is about being honest. There's not a separation there. There's no sugarcoating something, but also putting down a certain group that doesn't exist. So I just look at it as the more truthful I am, the more I'm actually protecting the community because I'm giving accurate narratives and dispelling misconceptions and I'm normalizing it for not just me or men, but the hobby as a whole because my content is reaching outside of this community. So yeah, that I think that's kind of it for there. Now the surprises. This is kind of a fun section. What has surprised me the most about becoming a creator? I think it was the love and openness and welcomeness of the vast majority of people. Yes, there was hate, there was criticism, still get it today, but more than that, there's a lot of love and understanding and welcoming. And people are so happy to have me as a male reborn doll collector in this space and someone who talks like I do, who shares the same mindset as I do with others. And you find out that I'm not so different after all. And it's just been a lot of love and a lot of support. I think that surprised me the most so far. What has surprised me most about the reborn doll community itself? It's more diverse than I had ever thought it would be. You've got the artist side, the authentic side, you've got the people who support all dolls, but it goes beyond that. There's all kinds of communities. People who buy, sell, trade, those are their own kind of thing. And they're constantly, it feels like the stock market of dolls sometimes when you look at some of those Facebook groups. I hate to say it. And I mean that lovingly, by the way. But I can't look at those groups without feeling like there's some, there's, you could probably use dolls as stock and trade them in some of those communities. It gets kind of interesting, actually. But yeah, I think there's just a diverse group of people, uh, more so than I thought there would be. And I found that I fit into a certain pocket, and I may not fit in everyone's pocket group, but I certainly try to. And I respect everybody in the community. Have artists, collectors, or viewers ever reached out in ways I didn't expect? Artists, no, not really. It was cool that I've had a few people offer to give me dolls before. I didn't expect that, but I don't know if it surprised me too much. I was very thankful and blessed, but I think what has surprised me about other collectors is the stories that you guys share with me. Anytime I see a comment and I have to hit see more, and then I see several paragraphs, I know I'm going to have to come back and read that one more. So I do actually read them. I know some of them are a bit long and wordy, and that's perfect because I actually enjoy that. And it gives me an opportunity, if there's struggles there, to pray for that person and give a thoughtful reply and encouragement. And that's at the very least what I try to do with that. The last one on this has what's something viewers would be surprised to learn about running this channel? What it takes to make a video. I know this is a single camera shot, and you're thinking, how hard could this be to edit? I try to get rid of the pauses. I get rid of my filler words like, that kind of thing as best I can. I always have to focus on lighting. I have certain lighting cues in the studio. In fact, I might try to take a picture of this a wide view of everything so you guys can kind of see, but it's there's a little bit more that goes into it. And then all of the publishing stuff. I have to make sure the metadata is right, descriptions are right, hashtags, tags, other things so that it gets the most visibility. There's scheduling that I do with it. And then there's the follow up, reading all the comments, looking at all that, responding to private messages, looking at other emails directly that I get. It's a bigger deal behind the scenes than what you might expect. So, yeah. So let's talk about the impact now. What's the most meaningful message I've received? I think it's from the guys in the community. I can't help but think about that comment I got from Cody, and I did that whole video on. I still think about that. I mean, he's the manliest guy you'll ever meet. You wouldn't know that he has 2 reborn dolls. He lives a normal life. He rides Harley Davidsons. He's a working cowboy. You guys remember that video? And I'm just like, but at the end of the day, he goes and he gets these 2 dolls out and he loves on them and they mean something to him. He's a combat veteran. You learn things about people that you otherwise wouldn't know. And I think that's the type of things that stick out to me. Um, has anyone ever told me that my videos change their perspective? Yes, all the time. Almost every video now, I get someone who sees something that they didn't previously notice in the video, and I'll get a comment or something, or I'll get a like from a page or something that I didn't expect to. So that kind of has been really meaningful and impactful for me too. Have I heard from collectors who were afraid to go public before finding my channel? Yes, particularly with men. There's been about a half dozen men that I know who went public about their reborn doll collection after watching my video. And that is awesome to me. I wish those guys nothing but the best. I hope if they do go out and make more videos, even if it's just posting in a Facebook group for the first time, I really hope that guys actually do that. And those are the messages that I get excited about because that's, like I said in the beginning, that's what I set out to do. I wanted to normalize men being in this and show that any misconceptions people have about men being in this space are not necessarily founded. I'm a normal guy. Like I've said before, I have a wife, I have a son, I have a normal, regular job that I go to. I'm a Christian male, and I still appreciate these dolls and what they help me with and what they mean, but I'm still me and I still very much normal. I'm not a weirdo. And so that's the biggest thing. The criticism worth it. As I said before, it's your stories. It's the messages I get from you. I live for the comments. I live for seeing your pictures of your reborn dolls. I love it. It's like the most amazing thing in the world to hear how a video or your reborn doll has helped you in the stories and the struggles that you have. And the fact that you feel comfortable enough to publish a lot of these in a public comment is really telling because it means that I created a safe channel where you feel comfortable to share those things. And you know that there's people like myself, we're monitoring the comments and we're not going to let you be bullied. We're going to take care of those comments. We're going to get them removed. As the channel gets bigger, it's going to get harder to do that because we get dozens of comments. And so I may not get to everything as we grow. And I just want to be honest with you. It's not that I don't care. It's a volume kind of problem, right? You get too big and managing everything by yourself gets harder. One of the goals I would like to do just to make these videos more interesting, because it's not something I'm very good at, is eventually I'd love to have an editor to help me with these videos, edit them, give ideas on maybe some B-roll to make them more interesting to look at rather than just a single shot of me. It's not a gift. I am not a video editor by any stretch of the imagination. So I like radio, or I don't have to deal with video. Those are some of the goals that I have. Yeah, so I guess looking forward now, I was talking a little bit about this. I have a funny way of doing that, don't I? What do I hope my channel accomplishes in the next few years? I hope I get more comments that welcome me into the space. I hope I get more comments from people interested in buying their first reborn doll. I would love it if I got those messages saying my video inspired them to go do that. I would also really love my faith to show more in these videos, just a little bit. And I would love to hear people say that they at least looked into a church for the first time because they saw that I use these as a tool, but they see that my overall um, strength and hope comes through my faith and my faith in the Lord Jesus Christ as my Savior, and that's ultimately what helps me at the end of the day, and that's what my hope lies. And so I would like to maybe convey that a bit more in my videos, just because it is important. And I think that the reason that I've gotten this big is because the Lord's allowed me to reach these people, and the dolls are a tool to help us in that, but it's also given me opportunity to at least share more about my faith, and that's important. All right, what do I hope my legacy is within the hobby? So years from now, or however long it's going to be when I'm not able to make these videos anymore, I hope people just remember my kindness. I hope people remember me as someone who is authentic to who I am, someone who shows love and compassion, and someone who values my faith and my family deeply, and someone who spoke honestly and openly about really hard things to talk about. And that's what I hope people remember about me. Whoa, that was a hard question. Ooh, gotta breathe out through that one. If I could change one thing about how the public sees reborn dolls, what would it be? I would think the biggest thing I would change is the thing a lot of people would change in this space. And that's this idea that just because I'm holding a doll, or that we like to have these dolls, means that somehow we have some issue, like it's not normal. I would like for people to see these dolls as any other hobby. Maybe you collect antiques, maybe you like woodworking, uh, maybe you collect cartoon characters or figurines or movie props, and no one thinks that that's not normal. It's a hobby. And I think I would like to have the public see that more with these dolls. Okay, last question. If I had to start Strong Hands Reborn Dad over again, would I do it? Oh boy, would I do it? I'd be lying to you guys if I told you that I could just outright say yes, I would do it. I probably would, but just know that this hobby has cost me quite a bit in some people's views and how they see me. And that hurts. It doesn't take away from all of the positivity that it's created and what it's allowed me to do for the relationships that I've had because of it, but it also did take away some things that I didn't expect would be taken away from me. Um, it's made me have to answer questions I didn't think I would have to answer because they shouldn't be issues, like the dolls becoming an idol, for example. People have that accusation, or the dolls becoming more important to me than my own family, those type of things. And even though I've spoken as clearly as I can on those topics, it really didn't change their minds. And it's easy for people to say, just go to a different church because that's not right, or just ignore those people. I think if the shoe were on the other foot, you'd probably be thinking more like I am. It's hard because I have relationships with these people, and I didn't expect that those would be changed or um, broken as a result of me having this hobby and sharing what I do publicly. So would I start this channel over again? Yes, I think I still would, because I think that the impact is still bigger than the what it's cost me personally. We all endure, I think, for me, for the sake of Christ, and this is part of an enduring thing, you know. And I would just ask for understanding more. I think I would have requested that more earlier on in my earlier videos. But yeah, okay. Let's get on to some fun stuff. I know I've got to switch gears from going emotional like that to something really, really exciting. But I do have something very exciting that we are working on. And I'm so excited because how would you guys like to have this baby, this exact baby, the Livy Sculpt from Ashton Drake, as part of your collection? Would you like to have one of these Strong Hands Reborn Dad nursery dolls? Well, you might have your chance to nominate somebody in the very near future, because I am working on a giveaway for this exact baby right here. And I decided to do this because I wanted to find a way to give back, and I wanted to find a way to be able to directly help someone um, in the through this hobby. And so I will announce more details, but it's going to be a nomination, and I'm going to ask people to nominate someone else other than themselves who they feel would be a very deserving person for this, and someone who could really benefit from a reborn doll. And along with it, I would send a copy of the NLT Bible with it, um, to show as that, because it's important to my faith and what this channel is, that these dolls are great as tools, but they're not the ultimate source of comfort. And there's things these dolls just can't fix. And so I would be doing that. And I'll have more to say hopefully next week. I'm working on getting a panel of people that I trust within the Reborn Doll space. And the submissions, we would review them as a panel. We would kind of vote on them, so to speak. And that would be what we use to help select a winner. So it would not be a random drawing. This would be something where we're evaluating the stories, because as I said in this video, your comments, what you've shared about what these dolls mean to you, is so important to me. And I think it would be good to give one of these babies away to you, or to someone you nominate. And so stay tuned for that. If you like this video, please give it a big like and a big comment. I would love to have it. Subscribe, share this with all of your friends. I hope that this video reaches someone who needs to hear some of these things. And I hope you learned a lot more about me and being a content creator. And until next time, guys, remember, strength looks different here on Strong Hands Reborn Dad.